You know that feeling, right? You make a mistake at work, and your gut just screams, hide it. Well, today, we're going to dig into why that happens, and more importantly, how a really simple shift from blame to accountability can totally unlock some major breakthroughs for you and for your whole team.
All right, let's just dive right in. I want you to think about the last time you messed up. Seriously, that pit in your stomach, that feeling is universal. And it just begs the question, right? Why is it so hard to just raise your hand and say, you know what, that was on me. I was wrong. That's the big question we're tackling.
So our first instinct, almost always, is to cover it up. But here's the crazy thing, the real paradox. The cover-up almost always does more damage than the actual mistake. Hiding our faults, well, it just makes our blind spots bigger and our impact smaller. It literally shrinks how effective we can be.
And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of the problem. I think, as a culture, we've totally confused accountability with blame. As soon as you hear someone say, we need to hold them accountable, your brain just immediately jumps to punishment, doesn't it? But what if that's all wrong? What if true accountability is actually the key to moving forward, to making progress? We've got to pull these two ideas apart.
So let's get clear. What is accountability, really? Well, it's not a punishment. Not at all. It's just ownership. It's looking someone in the eye and saying, yep, I'm responsible for this. I'll answer for the outcome, good or bad. Think about it less like a courtroom where you're on trial and more like a handshake. It's a promise, a commitment you're making to your team and, honestly, to yourself.
Okay, and here is the absolute core difference. Blame is all about being destructive. It's stuck in the past, right? It's always asking, who is at fault here? It's about finding a scapegoat and delivering punishment. But accountability? That's constructive. It's focused on the future. It asks a totally different question. Okay, what went wrong and how do we make sure we fix it? It's all about learning, not punishing. And that's why blame just completely destroys any chance of real accountability.
Okay, so we get the theory, right? Blame bad, accountability good. But what actually happens in the real world when you do it? When you choose to be accountable instead of pointing fingers? What are the actual, tangible benefits of just owning it? Well, it turns out the positive ripple effects are absolutely massive. In fact, get this, there are nine distinct, powerful benefits that are unlocked the second you decide to own a mistake. That's 9 ways this one simple act makes you a way more influential and effective leader. Let's break them down. First, let's talk about what this does for you, personally. When you own your stuff, you're forced to kind of dismantle your own pride, which is tough. You're showing some serious courage by looking that fear of failure right in the eye. And right there, in that moment, you flip the script. You turn a negative thing into a huge opportunity for growth.
And then just watch how that ripples out to your team. Admitting you are wrong doesn't make you lose respect. It's the exact opposite. It earns you respect. It is, hands down, the fastest way to build or rebuild trust. All of a sudden, you're not this perfect boss. You're a real person. You're relatable. And that strengthens every relationship you have. And hey, this one little act can stop a tiny error from spiraling into a massive crisis.
So let's just be crystal clear about this. Owning your mistakes is not weakness. It's not admitting defeat. It is a strategic, powerful tool of leadership, period. It's one of the biggest demonstrations of strength you can make.
Okay, so we've seen how powerful this is for one person. But how do you scale it, right? How do you go from one person's brave move to building an entire culture where this is just the way things are done? How do you create that winning culture that's built on a foundation of ownership?
I want you to think of it like this. A culture of accountability isn't some fluffy, nice-to-have thing. It is the engine that powers results. All the other stuff, your brilliant strategy, your amazing talent, your big vision, those are just the gears. Without accountability actually turning those gears, the whole machine just grinds to a halt.
And that's exactly why this has to be a team-wide value. Because when one person refuses to be accountable, that mistake doesn't just disappear into thin air. Nope. The weight of it gets shifted onto everyone else on the team. And that's where resentment builds up, where things start to break down. The entire team ends up paying the price for one person's lack of ownership.
So how do you actually build this thing? Well, here's a really simple 4-step cycle you can use. Step 1. Establish super clear goals. Everyone needs to know what winning looks like. Step 2. When you delegate, delegate real ownership, not just tasks. 3. You monitor and measure progress, but you do it to offer support, not to micromanage. And finally, Step 4. You evaluate and give honest, constructive feedback. It's a constant loop, you see, a cycle of clarity and support.
All right, let's bring this all home with one final, really powerful idea. Think of accountability as the bridge. It's the bridge that gets you from a good intention to a real action. It's the force that turns a goal on a piece of paper into an actual achievement.
You know, it really all comes down to this quote from John Dilemma. He said, "Accountability separates the wishers in life from the action takers that care enough about their future to account for their daily actions." And that's it, isn't it? It's the difference between wishing and doing. It's a daily choice you make to own what's happening right now because you care about where you're going.
So let's just reframe this one last time. Accountability is not about the past. It's not about judging what's already happened. It is a tool for taking ownership of the future. Every single time you own something, you are literally grabbing the steering wheel for what happens next.
And that brings us right here to the final question for you. Not for tomorrow, not for next week, but for right now, today. What is one thing? It can be big, it can be small, at work, at home, doesn't matter. What's one thing